Welcome back to yet another Star Trek podcast. While it may only seem like 2 weeks to the listeners, it's actually been 3 months that I've not seen these fine gentlemen.
That's a lie.
That's a gross exaggeration.
Wait. It feels like 3 months. So it feels like 3 months. I talk to these guys every single day. I don't see them very often. I send Drew selfies. He doesn't reciprocate, whatever. But with me, as always, are my two lovely co-hosts. One, from the mean streets of Connecticut, I have Drew. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
Wasn't expecting that. And then from I don't know what state he's currently in. Atlanta. He's in the great city of Atlanta. Hi, Brad. Say hi.
Say hi.
No, you messed that up.
We're off to a great start, aren't we?
I know.
Yeah, we're rocking.
I mean, would have been better if I just been like, for shizzle my nizzle.
No. No, that's called cultural appropriation.
Oh, God, man. You know, I can't win. I can't win.
How are you guys? You both looking very healthy. Drew, especially. He ran a couple of 5Ks in the time that we've last talked.
Yeah, I ran some races. I mowed my lawn today. I don't know, man. I'm good. I'm tired.
All right.
I'm tired. I just like I worked a lot of days in a row, and I had like 1 day off in between a shift rotation. So I worked 3, I was off 1, and then I worked another 3. And now I'm in the middle of my weekend, and I've just been like just beat. And like we've been having a lot of rain here in Connecticut. So the only day that I had off was Friday, and that was like the best day to mow the lawn, because there was no rain on Friday. But I was so tired from working all week that I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do it right now. I'll wait till my day's off. And then it proceeded to rain every single day since then.
Yeah.
So today, like in between pockets of rainstorms, I went outside and mowed my lawn. And if you thought that like all those 5Ks would help me like have the stamina to mow the lawn without being exhausted, you'd be mistaken.
Do you at least have a power lawnmower?
I mean, it's run by gasoline.
Self-propelled?
Yeah. Like I'm not pushing it. Like it pushes itself, but I mean, you still have to like, we have a lot of trees in my property, so I'm constantly ducking, and I've already got a back injury I'm dealing with on top of all that. And it's annoying.
I feel your pain, man. Like I mowed my lawn with a very steep incline, so it can be very difficult.
Yeah. Having a house with a yard is immensely rewarding, and also like the bane of my existence at the same time.
Oh my God. It is, but it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
Well, I sent you guys that sexy picture of all the lines, and like
the lines in his lawn.
The lines in the lawn, yes. It was very satisfying to take that photo. And I was standing at the back of the yard just looking out at the house. I'm like, yeah, this is it, man. This is worth all the effort. And then I came inside, I ate lunch, and I fell asleep on the sofa.
Nice.
I should send you a sexy picture of all the weeds growing in my yard.
Oh, make no mistake, there are weeds everywhere. That is not 100% grass by any means. There's so many holes and divots. Like the whole time the mower was like.
There's no shocks. There's no shocks on the lawnmower. I'm Drew. I'm really happy for you. And when you want to do like landscape lighting, I'm now an expert in landscape lighting. I showed you the lights we did. No, I did in the pathway. I have the stuff. You saw the stuff in the backyard too.
Yeah.
So whenever you're ready, Brad, I would offer the same thing to you, but
what if I paid for your plane ticket? Like if I flew you down here, would that be like something that we could work with?
At that point, I need to rework my excuse. Because right now the excuse is you're too far away. I can't get there.
I've done it before. I had a friend who helped me move, and I flew him here from Florida. I was like, "Hey, man, I need some help. Let me pay for your plane ticket."
Business class?
No, not that wealthy.
Oh, whatever. Oh, hey, Drew, I'm not sure if you heard that. He's quantifying how wealthy he is by saying I'm not that wealthy.
Okay, so
But
he's
he's
like,
wealthy.
I mean, what levels of we got first class, business class, coach? What else is there?
He's gonna let me check the bag.
I'm main cabin where you don't pay for the seat.
Boarding class A.
Sure.
Majeed, how are you?
I'm good. Oh, dude. I have jury duty coming up, and I thought of the perfect way to get out of jury duty.
Oh, do tell.
I'm gonna tell them if they interview me, I'm gonna say I'm attracted to the attorney.
I think that may be constituted as sexual harassment.
No, I'm not hitting on
No,
you.
technically it would be sexual harassment.
I believe there's a song that's appropriate for this situation.
Hit me.
Single female lawyer fighting for her client.
See, you
Wearing
guys are
sexy
assuming that
mini
the-
skirts and being self-reliant.
I'm
You guys are
assuming it's
assuming-
always sunny.
No, that's a
No,
Futurama one.
what? That's Futurama.
Oh, okay.
That's the demerits. Ugh.
I've
We're 6 minutes in, that's
watched,
the
I watched a
demerits.
good amount of Futurama, but I haven't seen all of it.
That episode was made at the height of like Ally McBeal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that now.
Yeah.
Right, of course. The demerit still stays.
I fully expect demerits, and I'm proud of getting those, man.
Yeah, well, when you're proud of getting demerits, it takes the fun out of getting demerits. Or giving
Then maybe I'll get less demerits. Who knows?
But yeah, no, you guys are assuming that the attorney is going to be a female. I mean, you could very well be a male.
It still counts as sexual harassment, man.
It's true.
No,
That's
I don't
right.
think it does. I mean,
It doesn't matter what gender
Okay,
the person is.
fine.
It would be workplace sexual harassment. Well, it wouldn't be something that like you potentially can get in trouble, but that person could be really uncomfortable. That's like not cool, dude.
I'm just wondering why we're discussing the law on this Star Trek podcast.
I mean, it's come up more than a couple of times about ways to get out of jury duty.
Yeah, well, just like, I don't know.
I've never been called for jury duty.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. Anytime I think I'm going to do it, they're like, "Oh, the
So-
court's closed tomorrow, so never mind, we're
I
good."
get it. I think I know why. Brad's always moving. So you have to get jury duty
Oh.
every 3 years. Before that 3 years is up, Brad's already gone.
Move to a different county. Yeah.
Right. Brad's like, nope, sorry, can't do jury duty. I'm a different
No,
state.
that's like that. Actually, thinking about that, that's actually 100% true. Even before I got married, I was always moving around.
Ugh.
This is why your wife wants to move back up north so she can dodge jury duty again.
Actually, Brad
Oh,
has a
this
good
is
excuse
delightful.
now why he can't go to jury duty. He has no childcare.
Well,
That's valid.
Technically, I have been off for the past week and a half to take care of my daughter.
But not if it doesn't line up with jury duty, then it doesn't
Yeah.
count.
Yeah, even if you do have someone to watch your daughter, you can say, ooh,
I'm going to be taking off about 10 weeks during the summer to take care of her.
10 weeks? You getting paid for this?
No, it's all unpaid. It's all unpaid.
Why 10 weeks? She'll be old enough to take care of herself.
Hey, sweetheart, here's a bowl of food. Take care of yourself now.
Here's an iPad. Here's an extra diaper for you. Ring this bell if you need me. I'll be home in an
I
hour.
can assure our listeners I take no fatherly advice from Majeed.
Listen, it's been 12 years. I'm doing okay so far.
I would more likely take it from Drew than Majeed.
You realize that I have cats, right?
Yeah.
No children.
Yep. That's the comment I'm leaving here.
It was a long pause.
The cats were meowing at me because I didn't give them enough food today. So here's how
Drew, come on, you're killing this here. I'm trying to gaslight Majeed, and apparently it's not working.
I just
My
wanna
cat
vent
eats
about
my dog
cats.
food. My cat eats my dog's food. Stella's been eating Kylo's food. I feed her, no problem. And then 20 minutes later, you hear crunch, 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 crunch.
So Drew, just get a dog, and then you don't have to worry about your cats.
Well, then I do definitely have to worry about the cats because the dog will eat the cat's food before they can finish it.
Actually, yeah. Kylo
That's
eats
why-
Stella's food.
That's why Stella's eating Kylo's food. I think this is just karma.
She also takes his bed. So
Karma.
I just want to like one more little quick thing about these guys before we go into the pod, talking about the Star Trek stuff. I'm on a couch with the dog. We're watching TV. Yes, we watch TV together. The cat comes around the corner. She starts having, I guess, like a coughing fit because of a hairball. Kylo, who is asleep, kind of perks his head up, hears it, goes right to her side. Most adorable thing in the world.
He loves her.
Yeah. And then he just kind of starts looking at her. He kind of lick her. She smacks him in the face. He doesn't go anywhere. She keeps going on with the hairball. Licks her again. It was just a really fun back and forth. And then I got the picture I showed you guys of them just both looking at me like, you gonna stop this? You know? But yeah, no, you should definitely get a dog.
I want one.
Kylo loved you.
Kylo's awesome.
I've been told that I'm allowed to get a dog when my daughter wants a dog. So that's when I can get my dog.
At this point.
So it's your daughter's dog then.
Well, no, Majeed will contest this that it will really be his.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
It's right. That's what happens. Like the dog was to be for my wife and daughter. It ended up being my best friend, my buddy.
Right. But what's going to end up happening is your daughter's going to say she wants a dog. She's going to give it some stupid name like Balloon Puff or something. And then you're going to be stuck with your buddy Balloon Puff.
I feel like you underestimate how nerdy I really am.
Yeah.
And I can assure you I will not allow that to happen.
I don't underestimate how nerdy you are. I'm sure you're going to name the dog something cool like Ripley or Garibaldi or Riker or something.
Oh my God. Riker is a great name for a dog.
Riker is a great name for a dog, isn't it?
Can you get a dog and name him Riker?
I mean, I would.
If I can, yeah.
I would. But
you
you also underestimate the power of your child.
Yeah.
And Balloon Puff.
By the way, our friend Franks has the best dog names, in my opinion. It was Vader and Indy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you understand the brilliance of the name Indy for a dog from the movie.
I do.
You do. Drew, do you get the reference?
Yes.
I've never seen a movie in my entire life.
Okay, so in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Sean Connery plays Indiana Jones' father. And Indiana Jones' father, Henry Jones, is like, your name is Henry. No, my name is Indiana. And his father's like, no, we named a dog Indiana. And that's why it's just the perfect name for a dog, because it truly is a dog's name. But
I have a friend that named his dog Chewy.
Was it a very hairy dog?
Well, it's like one of those poodle mix things. I don't remember what breed it is, but he's a massive Star Wars fan. So it worked out.
It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan, guys. It's a great time.
Is it because tomorrow is May 4th?
Yeah, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. But it's also a good time to be a Star Trek fan, watching the first season of Star Trek and the episode Sitting on the Edge of Forever.
Look at that segue.
How was that? I feel like I oh, Brad gave me a womp womp, so all right, I could do better next time.
No, you're good. You're good.
Brad sounded kind of like the teacher from Peanuts cartoons.
Oh, we've never seen the teachers' faces, so it could totally be Brad.
Yeah, it truthfully could be. All right, so yeah, we watched The City on the Edge of Forever. Gentlemen, I don't know about you, but like the main preview picture was what I know this episode for, and then I know nothing about the episode before I watched.
Was this your first time seeing it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Did you have expectations going in?
Other than that it was time travel related? No, I had no expectations. That's the only thing I knew.
See, I didn't even know that it was time travel related.
Didn't you watch Discovery, right? Did you watch the episode where this
I don't think
object
he
appeared?
got that far. I
No,
don't
he
think he got
didn't.
that far.
If it was season 3 or season
Which it
4,
was.
okay,
It was
yeah,
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah. By the
All
way, that was a terrible tie-in. But go on. Anyway.
Demerit? We'll give it demerit. You can.
No. Just like I'm
Okay.
saying, like I storyline wise, I thought it was terrible. Hated it.
Was a pretty bad tie-in.
Anyway,
Now I gotta see it.
So
now I gotta see it.
this episode's a little bit different than how Discovery went. The crew of the Enterprise are orbiting a planet and monitoring time distortions because it's apparently occurring on a consistent, regular basis. Something happens to Sulu, and the McCoy immediately comes on to the bridge to help out Sulu, giving him a shot of cordrazine. Not cortisone, which I entirely misheard when I was watching this episode. I was like, why are they giving them cortisone cream? But it's cordrazine.
well,
Cordrazine.
it's they pronounce it cordrazine.
Cordrazine. Sorry.
So that's why you heard it incorrectly, because they pronounced it. You pronounced it wrong. So you get a demerit.
Yeah, sure. You know what? I get what, 5 now?
I don't know. How many are we up to now, Majeed?
Infinity.
All right.
So the ship rocks, and McCoy accidentally overdoses on the stuff. And yeah, that's bad. He goes bonkers. He goes bonkers. And just like the look on his face when he wakes up, he is like screaming and then runs his ass off the bridge. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was like, WTF.
That was hilarious.
It was.
Absolutely hilarious. I don't know how anybody on set could keep a straight face with that performance.
It was so bad.
You know, it's funny. I honestly thought the episode was going to take a different turn when this occurred. I thought like McCoy was going to like run around the ship and they were going to have to go try find McCoy. That didn't really happen. But he somehow makes his way off the ship and transports to the planet. I mean, you know, what could go wrong? An away team crew of the Enterprise beams down. I like to call it the red shirts and friends. You know, it was a crew of mostly red shirts that none of them surprisingly died. So no, the harming of no red shirts occurred in this episode, which is a very proud statement for Kirk, I'm sure. Kirk and Spock are looking for McCoy, and they come across a time portal of a being that apparently has existed for millions of years and starts to replay human history, like in second periods of motions, right? You know, one video clip after another. It's like the Earth's greatest hits, you know?
Yeah, you know, I think I saw an episode of Time Life, you know, CD collection of all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was an infomercial that was airing pretty early in the morning, and you know, it was like the greatest hits of like World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, Abe Lincoln getting shot, you know, stuff like that. It all came together in like a 5 Blu-ray set for like $200 or something.
Yeah, each track a different tragedy.
Yeah, basically. But the Guardian Forever. The Guardian of Forever. What'd you guys think of him? Her, it.
Did he sound like Melvar?
I think that's what they were kind of going for in Futurama.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's. Well, I mean, I think they were just playing up to Maurice LaMarche's strengths, actually. But
honestly, it was. I don't really have an opinion, honestly, because he wasn't on there that long. It was just like, hey guys, this is time portal.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The Guardian of Forever had a surprisingly small role in this, despite being pivotal.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Jude?
The Guardian of a cameo. I didn't care for his. I didn't feel one way or the other about his voice. What really got me was the composition of the scene, right? I don't want to get too artsy, I'm gonna try
Get
not to. I
artsy.
don't want to sound like a moron.
Get artsy.
The way the shots are framed and the lighting, which is perfect.
Mhm.
It was moody, and I was like, "Oh man, somebody's gonna die." Somebody's gonna die because there's a red shirt there. That's the only reason why I thought somebody's gonna die.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Yeah, but I'm just like it's setting the tone for the episode, I thought. And you know, the episode happened. I'll go into that stuff later when we get there.
So Drew, what about you, man? How would you feel about the Guardian of Forever?
Well, it's tough for me to kind of separate nostalgia because this is such an iconic part of Star Trek. You know, the Guardian of Forever is just one of those unique shapes that I think has become ingrained in Star Trek lore, you know, because it's not really a circle, it's not really an arch, it's not a square. It's just a very like organic feeling, kind of natural thing. But like, it's been so long since I've seen this episode that I forgot a lot of the things about it, and you know, the way, like, to kind of talk about what Majeed was saying, you know, the way the set was laid out and everything, the lighting, the positioning of the cameras, it just made it seem like this foreboding like portal, you know.
Yeah, and well, this foreboding portal is exactly what it seems to be, and because McCoy takes that moment to run his crazy ass self through the portal. Yeah, and that wasn't good. That was actually very bad, and the away team somehow are still there, but they lose contact with the Enterprise. And yeah, there's no Starfleet. Everything's gone.
It's all gone.
And now you have Spock going, and analyzing the images and indicating that he has an idea of when McCoy ran through, and that the plan is to time it just right so that they will go through the portal roughly around the same moment of time that McCoy does. So I guess in that sense, it's not like a continuous stream of the, human history where it's constantly playing. It's just these points in time for the human history, and that's what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, they're just kind of like dropping in at like, pivotal entries.
And I think Spock makes a comment around like that will be, I think, roughly around like a month around the time period of when McCoy arrives there. So they're kind of eyeballing it. And you know what? They do a fantastic job. They jump on through and materialize in the 1920s, 1930s?
1930s New York City.
Yeah. That was interesting. They materialized in plain daylight. People are all looking at them kind of like, hey, look at those circus performers. And yeah, they clearly stand out like a sore thumb.
The the alley that they arrive in, they've used that alley before, right?
Oh, they used the entire set before.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't this used for the what the hell was it? That episode with
the kids, Bunk Bunk?
Well, that one, yeah, and then the one where with Landrew.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that
yeah.
episode with Sex Dungeon.
Sex
Dungeon.
Yeah. What a great episode. Brad loved that episode.
I don't really recall, but sure.
You were like, oh yeah, I got that same bench.
In Landrew we trust. Right? That's what it was. That's what
it was for somebody.
I trusted my Drew.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're there. They're kind of sticking out, and Kirk and Spock are kind of like, well, we kind of need to find a way to blend in. And they do the most logical thing to do, and Kirk climbs up a fire escape to steal some clothing. I mean, what could possibly go wrong other than the fact that a police officer kind of comes by and be like, yo, guys, what's up?
It was a foolproof plan until the authorities showed up.
Yeah, pretty much. So they show up and they're like, yeah, they're gonna arrest him, but you know what? The Vulcan nerve pinch, man.
Vulcan's
That-
deeper hold.
That is like the go-to I win all kind of things. That I don't understand why if they would ever fight anything other than just doing nerve pinch. Just nerve pinch.
Unless
after
you're fighting a robot.
Fair.
If Spock was in a fighting game, would that be his fatality?
Clearly.
But nobody dies from it.
You heard what I said.
I said what I said. That's fair.
You should stand by your statement.
I want to remove any demerits you have from the past 3 months.
Thank you.
So, on the run from authorities, Spock and Kirk try to escape and they find a door that is open and then put on the clothes that they stole. And a charming, beautiful woman encounters them while she's coming down to the stairs while they're half dressed or dressing. I don't remember. But it turns out she's like a good person. They were completely honest. We stole these clothing. The police are after us. And she's like, yeah, it happens. Don't worry about it. Come on upstairs and get some food. It turns out she's like some sort of, what is it, a soup kitchen, I think?
Yeah, she's running like a food pantry for homeless or something, soup kitchen kind of thing. Joan Collins playing the part of Edith Keeler.
I know she looked familiar.
Who's
Joan Collins?
Who's that?
The actress that was in the episode of Star Trek we just watched.
Yeah, but what is she known for?
The episode of Star Trek.
She's pretty prolific. She's actually a dame for England. Is that like the equivalent of knighting? I'm not sure how that goes. But prominent actress over the years. Nothing that you and I really would have gotten into. I think she was in American Horror Story though, which is
Really?
Dynasty. Yeah,
Dynasty is what everybody should really know her for.
Right. That was, I think, probably her most famous role.
Brad, you may know her from the Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
I'm Googling her. Oh, I know who she is.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
I was about to correct you and say was, but she's 89 years old and she's still
89
going.
years young.
I said what I said.
Fair.
He stands by his statement.
She has.
Anyways, the lovely Miss Joan Collins, aka Edith Keeler, finds the two distraught crew of the Enterprise, and she takes them under her wing and helps them get a house, a job, and apparently, some money because they buy a bunch of crap and stuff like that. But they surmise that they are before McCoy actually goes back in time, and they're trying to make the best out of it. They don't have a way of getting back to the future, not that I'm aware of, and they do a lot of things like work in the soup kitchen. Spock builds some toys and like builds a supercomputer out of radio parts and television things that are not very common back then. And
television things were definitely not common back then because TVs hadn't been invented yet.
Fair point. but they had a display somehow, right?
Yeah, that's a valid point.
But keep in mind, so Kirk, while that was going on some dates, having some good time with the lady. Because, what could possibly go wrong? And so Spock tries to identify what could have caused the change in history. What could have caused the catastrophic issue that caused the Federation to blink out of existence, right? So Spock, using his ingenuity, recorded everything on his tricorder. Was his tricorder or whatever? And he plays back some of the stuff, and we see the a news clipping that Edith was killed in a motor accident.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's dumb right there, man. Not dumb as in DUM, but more of like dumb.
Da, da, da.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There. But yeah, that's a big thing. And I don't remember if they say it here at this point, but the whole idea though is that something happened, either her death or her living caused the United States to not get involved in World War II as early as they did. And
Yeah,
therefore, go ahead.
I think basically she had like a meeting with the president,
Mm-hmm.
and something about her encouraged pacifism.
And
yeah, go ahead.
it delayed their entry, and the Nazis ended up developing nuclear weapons first,
Yeah.
fusion bombs,
Exactly.
and they just conquered everything. You know, Drew, this makes me wonder, is this like the origin of the mirror universe?
No.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. You get that going, and we got Mirror coming up next season. Don't do that to me. That's going to be on my mind until that episode.
Well,
Do you
folks,
think? Let me ask you this, Brad. Do you think that when the Enterprise traveled 3 days back in time in the Naked Now, that it caused Edith Keeler's death to be so pivotal?
that's entirely a possibility.
It's not.
That
It's not. I hate you both. I was not going to bring up the 3 days time travel. I wasn't going to bring it up. I was going to bring it up. This was a much better executed use of time travel.
So we our man crazy man Bones finally arrives in this time period, shouting that, you know, they're out to kill him, assassinate him, and he comes across a homeless man who was about to steal a jar of milk. And then he runs away from the homeless man and eventually passes out or something. And then the homeless man decides to rob him, you know, grabbing the phaser and accidentally killing himself.
Oh my God, is that what happened to him?
Yeah,
Yep.
dude shot himself with a phaser.
Okay, so is it possible that whatever that guy did to himself made sure that the Nazis won? We don't know this, do we?
Well, look, here's another mind twist: is that what if, because he died, that the only way to correct it and make sure the Nazis wouldn't win would be for Edith to die? Had the original guy never died, then Edith would not have had to die.
Can you draw that on a piece of paper for me?
Sure.
All right.
So yeah, our man Bones kind of was roaming around the city and ends up coming across a beautiful woman who decides to take him in and not call the police or the authorities on him, even though he's looking like he's completely nuts and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes his way into the soup kitchen, gets himself a coffee. Spock turns around, just misses him in the nick of time, so therefore he doesn't see him. And Edith helps get him a nice little apartment and some money and some clothes and help him clean up his spots.
I apologize, Brad, but I'm trying to figure out why.
There was a bug.
There was a
Why
bug in
is
here.
he doing kung fu?
Because I'm trying to
web-
smack the bug without smacking the microphone.
There was a bug. I saw it like
It was by the light over here.
Yep, I saw that.
I don't know what Drew's looking at on my screen.
I was looking at the memory alpha for this episode, and then I look over to the window next to it in which the webcams are residing, and I see you doing a combination of the robot and kung fu. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm so sad that you're not able to laugh out loud because you have a mouthful of water and you're going to spray it all over the keyboard. and the monitor and the webcam and the microphone. This is delightful.
I had to be careful. I had to be careful. I didn't want to hit the bug too hard. I didn't want to kill it. I don't know my own strength anymore.
If you hit the bug too hard, it's going to literally explode.
Yeah, I'm like One Punch Man that way. I see it. It's on my my window blind. It's taunting me.
You should stop drinking water.
I don't.
It's dangerous for your health.
I don't remember where I was. I lost my summary part. McCoy finds Edith. Edith nurses him back to health, and he's alive.
Yeah. So my question is, what the hell does she have in the 20th century that they don't have in the 24th or 23rd? Because McCoy basically slipped off the Cardrazine, but he was losing his shit trying to get off the ship and everything. And like, if they had just like, I don't know, stunned him with a phaser and put him to bed for a couple days, like maybe none of this would have happened.
Yeah, you know what? We wouldn't have had an episode then.
Yeah, I like it this way, Drew, because the episode happened.
I feel like that's a cop-out answer from both of you. I'm very disappointed.
You're trying to trigger us. You're trying to trigger us.
I have to admit, though, there was a line in here that made me very happy. When McCoy wakes up, he goes, he's talking to Edith and everything like that, and he's like, I'm a surgeon, not a psychiatrist. And I'm like, that's one of those things that we've never heard him say before.
It is. That's a new one.
But he didn't say, damn it, man. Right?
Well, he was talking to a lady, so.
Damn it, ma'am. Right, damn it, ma'am.
Is that how the word Dane came about?
Sure. Anyways, Kirk meets up with Edith for their date because Kirk is all mushy over for her and doesn't want her to die anymore at this point. And they're going to go see a movie, and they happen to be talking. Kirk is like, oh, I don't know who this person, who were they going to go see again? It was like
Harry Belafonte?
No, it wasn't.
Clark Gable.
Clark Gable, that's what it was.
Yeah,
so they were saying they're gonna go see Clark Gable, and Kirk's like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, you're the second person to say it." McCoy was saying, he's like, "McCoy, oh my god, I'm trying to look for that man. Take me to him." And so they go back to the apartment. So Kirk says, "Where is he?" And she says, "Oh, he's back in the apartment." He yells to Spock. He's like, I found McCoy." And he runs across the street, telling Edith to stay there. And then, what do you know it? McCoy just happens to walk out. He walks right out at that exact moment. And Edith decides to take a stroll across the road very slowly and not look both ways, because, that's not a thing you do in the 20s or 30s or ever, apparently. And a truck comes barreling down really somewhat not too fast, but I guess fast-ish for a movie set.
Truck versus human.
Yeah, it's fair. And then McCoy's like, "No, Edith." And Kirk's like, "I'm going to hug you and cry." And the Edith gets hit by the truck and dies.
Oh, God.
Womp womp.
So Edith should have died a long time ago, way before that truck. And let me explain to you why. This episode alone, she allowed 3 strangers to just be a part of her life, knowing damn well that they were possibly dangerous.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The first two had police chasing them.
Right. So that's just within this time frame of this episode. God only knows how many before Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. She should have been dead a long time ago. She should have been stabbed. I'm sorry to say it, but Edith's not very bright. That truck was also very loud.
She has a kind heart.
Great. So the next person that is on the donor list can also get it.
So
was that morbid? Was that glib? Was that
a little?
Okay.
Just a hair morbid.
Next, we see Spock and Kirk run through the time portal, then followed by McCoy, and everything's back to normal. as if nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm. They were only gone for like 2 seconds.
How did they get back? Like, was that ever explained?
No.
No, there wasn't enough
No.
time in the episode.
Yeah, they ran out of time.
All right, so you know what, guys? You know what? Fine, whatever. I'm gonna just accept it. I'll accept it. To sum up this episode, guys, McCoy gets high and travels through time. Spock builds an erector set, and Kirk falls in love. Then she dies and is very sad.
I kind of expected Edith to be Kirk's grandmother.
Oh God, that's just wrong, man.
That's another Futurama reference.
Yeah, I know. That's just wrong.
How many times did we say, though, that Futurama got its ideas and stories from Star Trek, heavily inspired? I thought this is one of them.
One of the episodes, I'm sure, was inspired by this.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of those classic science fiction episodes that's kind of hard for it to not have some influence on nearly everything at some point or another. So I think the thing that I had to keep in mind was, like, I knew of this episode, and it's something that is always like, you've heard of it and you're like, oh man, it's one of those, great Star Trek episodes. And then you're like, man, I'm going to watch it now. I got to make sure whatever my expectations are, they're not jaded, or they're not like set improperly. Cause man, like if you go into this episode with really high expectations, it could be go a little differently for you. We'll dive into that a little.
Yeah.
I feel like if I went through with the expectations of thinking this is going to be a great episode, I will have to probably say I'm very disappointed with how the episode turned out. Nothing actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the end goal with time travel. So, that's a self-defeating prophecy right there.
But I think, to me, looking at it from not having focusing on like not having that, oh, this is a really good episode, and just looking at it for what it is, I can understand why people say it is a good episode, though. It did give you some sort of emotional connection and feeling for the death of Edith and Kirk falling in love with her and then losing her.
How about you, Majeed?
So, Drew, you set the expectations in my mind pretty high for this episode. We've Mark for edit.
Yeah.
All right, Drew, you set.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Drew, you set the episode expectations pretty high for me. When we first started this, you said to me, "Man, there's a few episodes I'm really looking forward to." This is my impression of you, by the way. You're like, yeah, man, we're looking forward to the few episodes in the first season. Some of the ones that I really give attention to. City on the Edge of Forever. What's up?
I think you're doing too deep of a voice for your impression of Drew.
Oh, okay. That's accurate.
Hey guys, so there's a few episodes I'm really looking forward to this season, and one of them is City on the Edge of Forever. I'm gonna hold out on giving out 10s. Because I want to save them for these classic episodes.
Dude, you totally channeled the white person voice from like Sorry to Bother You, man.
Is that what it was?
That's what did you see that movie?
I didn't, but I also
God,
the look on Drew's face and
dude. You need to watch that movie. You're so spot on.
Oh God, the look on Drew's face. I never saw him squint so hard in my life.
That's pretty good. That's pretty accurate.
Is it? Yeah. I love my cats. Sure. Hey, no, but Drew, yeah, you told me about a few episodes, the one with the Klingons, with the bird of prey. Mm-hmm. It was this
the
one.
Romulans, you mean?
The Romulans. Sorry, yeah, with the Romulans, it was this episode, and there was one more in season 1 that we were
Space Seed.
wanted to Space Seed, yeah. So there were those episodes that, for me, you made like the tent poles of the season. So I had I had really high expectations going to this. But it didn't live up to the hype as well as Space Seed did.
Okay. What about it fell flat for you guys specifically?
I got this one. Because I thought about it. When they get there, when they get to the past and they're trying to devise a plan, they have this music, this really upbeat music that to me sounded like the chase music from Tom and Jerry. So when Kirk is climbing the ladder, there's no way that this. Who was the music supervisor on this movie? I want to smack him in the face.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, I'm not literally gonna smack him in the face. They're probably like really old by now.
Yeah, I mean, they might not even be alive, but I don't know. I don't know who it is. But anyway, go on.
So it was that. It was also, now that we are how many years from this series airing?
Oh,
20, 30 years? Okay.
20 what?
Oh my God, 20 years ago is when we got out of high school.
Ugh. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. God.
And this was like, 40 years old at that point or something.
Ugh.
So
are we almost 50 years at this point for this episode?
1967.
Ugh. 60? Ugh, God. Ugh. Anyway,
56 years.
So we've done time travel tropes, and one of the classic time travel tropes is the main character goes back in time, falls in love with somebody, and then the twist is they fall in love with a character that they shouldn't fall in love with. Case in point, Back to the Future 3. Doc Brown shouldn't have fallen in love with that woman who later became his wife, Claire. Right. So it's been done to death already. So I saw it coming and I wasn't surprised.
It's funny, Majeed, you mentioned it. That was one of the sticking points for me, but I try to distance myself from thinking that way only because like it's been done so much now, but when you think about it, has it really been done so much back then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, was that like such a common thing that's already occurred in so many other TV shows? And I kind of feel like it wasn't, probably not in the 1960s, not as much as it's been like that. And I tried to push it out of my mind from bothering me. Like, I think to me, the other thing was the not explaining how they get back. And then the hey, we're going to eyeball it and jump through the portal right after them.
Yeah.
That kind of like, if they could have been like, the Guardian was like, oh, I can send you back to around that time period, but I can't give you the exact, it's going to be potentially before or after. I would have been like, okay, that would have been a little bit more of a better explanation. But like, those were the two things that kind of really stuck with me that were like meh kind of about.
Brad, you you say that, and remember the comic book Invincible?
Yeah.
So Mark Grayson, I guess spoilers for a 12-year-old comic at this point. Mark Grayson, he went back in time and he had the opportunity to fight or handle things differently with his father. And he decided not to change anything. He wanted to go back home to his family, to his wife, to his, I think he had a kid at that point. So when he got sent back months, years even, after the original point of time that he left, which made for incredible storytelling from, him trying to reacclimate to his life that he left behind. That would have been, that would have been great. So you mentioning the mere moments, just a missed opportunity.
Yeah. But I think overall though, it was a good episode though. Much better than some of the other stuff that we've seen this season.
Yeah, you're right. But Drew, man, this is one of your tent poles, man. So tell me, what do you think about it?
Well, it's an episode that I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm willing to admit that I feel like I may have overhyped it more than I should have. I think I still came away liking this episode more than you guys did. There's a lot of things about this episode that I like. I've very fond of the way they handle time travel and the sacrifice of making sure that the integrity of the timeline is upheld at any cost. I think is something that we'll see time and time again in Star Trek, and it's a story that always plays out. It's just fascinating to see how each time it's done. So it's something that they've kind of laid the groundwork with, particularly in this episode, and we will see it again in future series as well. And it's improved upon, I think, each time. What I came away from this episode noticing the most is how rushed the story felt. It seemed like they took a long time to set up the time travel, and then once they were back in time, everything happened very quickly. And then, like, before you know it, Edith Keeler is dead, and then the episode is over. And there wasn't like any time for them to kind of decompress and acknowledge her death or really kind of absorb that, I would say. But I also, I understand the constraints of television kind of makes things a little bit more complicated. Like, I just wonder how this would have played out if this was a feature film,
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Or even,
because I think they would have had more time to explore it and make it seem more logical that Kirk would fall in love with Edith.
Yep. Modern day movie, or even like a modern day series.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, just even thinking back to the Star Trek films, right? Like, if this was, amongst them and they gave it, even 90 minutes, I think would have been a huge improvement. Or a two-parter like they did with the Cage, or, the Menagerie. I think there's a lot of room for this story to be more fleshed out than it was. And it just didn't have time. But the whole thing with McCoy getting to the planet, I had no recollection of that. I couldn't remember why they went back in time in the first place. I didn't recall them chasing after McCoy. I thought he was with them from the beginning. So there were a lot of details that were very fuzzy in my head. And, it was fun to kind of go back and refresh my memory and see how this all played out. But, I think this may be one of those episodes that, just looks a lot better with the rose tinted glasses,
Oh God, I love the tabletop Drew talk. I'm so excited to hear your review on it. I have an idea in my mind what you would rate it, but I'm excited to, when we finally get there, to hear you talk about it.
Well, I think there's still like a lot of redeeming qualities. Like the moment when Bones tries to run out to save Edith from getting hit by the car, and Kirk stops him, and Bones is like, do you know what you just did? I could have saved her. And Spock answers for Kirk and says, "Oh, he knows, Doctor. Trust me, he knows." Like, that was a very powerful moment in this episode. And I think the three of them, played it perfectly.
Yeah, I agree.
And in the short amount of time that we got to know Edith Keeler, you could see, you learned a lot about her. And a lot of that, I think, is attributed to Joan Collins being a tremendous actress.
Yeah.
I think if anybody else was playing that role, it would have flopped.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job. Just scrolling through her IMDb, so many things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's a legend. And, she has a very pivotal role in Star Trek. This is a favorite episode for a lot of people. And if you were to look up a list of like the top 10 episodes of Star Trek of all time, there's a chance this episode would be on that list somewhere.
Yeah.
It definitely would be in the top 10 for the original series. Now, is that an indictment on the quality of the original series? I don't know. I mean, we've certainly seen some episodes that have just not aged well.
Yeah.
But I think that being said, this is still, for all of its flaws, I still think that this rises above the rest pretty highly.
So we had, you say, talking about Joan Collins, we've had a few notable guest stars, right? Ricardo Montalban, Joan Collins, whatever the guy's name that played Harry Mudd. If you had
Clint Howard.
Clint Howard, oh my God, right, Clint Howard. So, Drew, if you had to rank these guys, like who was maybe in your, I don't want to say Mount Rushmore of notable guest stars, at least this season, but if you had like a top two, your favorite and then secondary, what would you?
I mean, I have to give Ricardo Montalban the top spot.
Yeah.
How can you not? I mean,
I
what
know.
a compelling performance.
Yeah.
That was such a good, that was my favorite, honestly.
Yeah, he was my favorite
there's no comparison, right? Like there's Ricardo Montalban and then there's literally everybody else.
Yeah. I it's probably a dumb question, but yeah, Ricardo Montalban, he murdered it.
He really did. And he made everybody else on that episode look like
chumps.
Just chumps. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait until you see the movie Majeed.
Oh my God.
I wanna watch it.
It is one of the finest pieces of cinema I've ever seen.
Which, by the way, remember, we're also getting a musical version of that show on Broadway. Was
it announced for Broadway? I thought they were just making the musical.
But don't musicals go to Broadway?
It's not guaranteed.
No, not all musicals go to Broadway. Some of them are off Broadway for a bit.
What's
some
off
of them
Broadway?
actually make it.
Yeah, some musicals never actually make it to Broadway.
Yeah. Off Broadway just means it's like not on like the Broadway strip.
Do you think that they saw our tweet and then decided to make this musical?
From what I understand, no. No, that was well in production before we had the brilliant idea to do it.
I mean, we listen, it's America. We could probably sue them and just say, hey, they stole our idea from Twitter.
Yeah.
And we can prove it. Even if they just settle out of court. Even if it goes nowhere, we'll make a name for ourselves as the guy that sued Star Trek.
Love it.
I'm gonna pass on that. You can be in your own group there, buddy.
Whatever. Don't come to me when you want part of that settlement. Anything else about the episode, guys, that kind of just like stood out to you, or things that you hated, loved?
I think another thing that that kind of like, I don't know if it bothered me or what, but like the random homeless guy just dying and then doesn't mean anything.
Oof. Listen, talk about having an existential crisis, right? Think about it. They went back in time because one person's life messed up the entire time stream. This random homeless guy, he dies. He wasn't supposed to die then. And nothing happens to him. He was a useless pawn in the...
Yep.
He was a speck in the time stream. Nobody didn't do anything.
Yep. Didn't matter at all.
Ugh, what a way to put things in perspective.
But other than that, I'm good. Yep, that's it.
All right. I want to do Drew's score last because I just think that it should be our crescendo.
I'll go first. Going into it, I really tried to distance myself from like any type of expectations or hype for it. There were some points of problems for me with the actual story, things I've commented on, but honestly, I enjoyed it. It was something that I enjoyed overall. I had a good time watching it, and it was a very classic style story for me. So I'm actually going to give this an 8.
That's higher than I was thinking you were going to go, just based on the way you were talking.
I understand you can always make complaints about things, but I really enjoyed the overall story. The cheesiness of like, hey, this has already been done before, but the fact of the matter is that this was probably not already done before, at least not to this extent back when this was created. And so I have to like remove myself from that type of thinking and look at it for what it was. Like, and honestly, when I think about the entire season, like Man, this was a killer episode compared to some of the other ones we watched.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
I should have went first. There's no way I can. There's no way I can follow that. There's no way I can follow that. Damn.
Don't try to follow it. Just
Just go with the number.
go, man.
Just go with the number. So one thing I will say again, this again just being a, well, I'll refer to it as a tent pole episode. I expected a lot. It didn't blow me away. I saw a lot of this stuff coming. It's not perfect. It's great, but it's not better than Space Seed, which, you know, was one of my all-time favorites. Brad did sell me on a couple of things, though, when it comes to how time travel was used back then in terms of storytelling mechanics and how it's used now. These tropes are overdone. Or was that Drew that said that?
Kind of both mixture.
Yeah, I think we both made the argument.
All right, I'll give Drew the credit, though. So,
Thank you.
so, it was, you know, it was a great episode. And of course, man, Joan Collins, I didn't recognize her. Just rare. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that being said, I would definitely give this episode a 9.
You guys are really surprising me with your scores because, like,
I'm waiting for
I was
you,
like
man.
I was cringing, waiting for it.
I'm waiting for you. You're gonna blow my mind when you give it a 3.
Oh, one of the classic episodes of all time. I mean, it really held up. 2.5.
2.5. 2.5 out of 20.
I mean, look, I do think that I overhyped it a little bit, and you know, maybe I ended up being a little bit more let down than you guys were, but I still enjoyed the episode. I like the message that they're sending. I love Star Trek doing time travel because they always end up showing a glimpse of what the alternate reality would have been, the alternate future, right? And we only got a couple sentences about it. Oh, the Federation doesn't exist, right? But that just opens up my mind to so many different possibilities, and then that's when my imagination really just takes off. It's like, oh, what would have happened? What could have happened? You know, would Kirk even have been born? You know, things like that, right? So the episode itself, I think, felt rushed, but the message that they sent about Kirk falling in love with Edith Keeler, but being willing to sacrifice him, you know, the person that he loves to save the timeline, I think was really poignant. And now that I think about it, Majeed, I'm not sure if Brad, you watched this or not. I know Majeed did. They did this in the Orville.
Yeah, they did. It was the second season finale.
It was basically the same story.
Yeah, and we all know that he loved Seth MacFarlane loves the show.
Right. So, I mean, knocked it out of the park with that, right? That was a heartbreaking episode. And I think that was a case of them having more time to tell the story that they wanted. Because if I remember correctly, those episodes were longer than an hour. Some of them, you know?
Yeah.
Or so longer than the 42 minutes you normally get.
Well, no, they jumped right into it, Drew.
Yes. Yeah. They didn't waste any time with the setup, right?
Yeah.
So there was that, and I think with Hulu there were less restrictions for the length of the show because we weren't selling advertisements like that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot more flexibility, less restrictions, and I do think that if we had even just 90 minutes on this one, I think it would have played out better. But I mean, Joan Collins was great, Kirk was great. The overacting of McCoy was a little much for my liking, kind of a weak setup. But I still really like this episode. I still think it's among the best that we've seen in season 1, but it's not my top. I'm looking back at Space Seed and Balance of Terror, and I still think I like those episodes better. I think I fall right in between you guys, 8.5.
Nice. You know what, Drew? We talked about the other episodes that did it similarly. The season 1 finale of Strange New Worlds did something similar. except we got to live in that moment. And it was really a moment, right? About a what if story. It was
Trying to remember.
Was what? A Quality of Mercy. A Quality of Mercy.
One where, let's see here. I gotta look at the
future Picard.
Oh,
sorry.
yes. Future Pike visits.
Future Pike, yeah, came back. Future Daddy Pike.
Right.
Sorry, Future Zaddy Pike came back.
Right. And this had Kirk in it and everything. Yeah, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm. And it was, he made a choice that affects the time stream about well, I don't want to ruin the episode. It's literally last year. So
right. But no, I get what you're saying. No, that's valid. And like this is, you're gonna see it again and again and again and again. Deep Space Nine did it at least twice. Next Generation does it. They all do it. It's a Star Trek trope, and like time travel is a frequent theme of the series, and how it's affected by Starfleet. I mean, they end up making like a time travel agency to check in on everybody to make sure nobody's screwing up with the timeline. It's a throwaway, but it exists.
We need those guys.
Yeah.
We need to report Brad to that place.
I'm not a time traveler.
That's exactly what a time traveler would say.
I mean, we've seen two of you in the same place at the same time. So
yeah.
Just because he was also dating an Asian woman doesn't mean I'm the same person.
I saw you on your first date with your future wife at a Buffalo Wild Wings years after you already married her.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
Sure. You know what? That's fine.
You know what? Maybe this is a conversation for a different time.
Gentlemen,
next episode.
Next episode.
It's the last one of the season. We made it.
We made it.
A year later, we're there.
Operation Annihilate. The Deneva colony is attacked by I almost said flying squirrels.
This is such a good episode.
The Deneva colony is attacked by flying parasites that cause mass insanity while the crew of the Enterprise search for a way to stop them. Oh, this is going to be a doozy, isn't it?
Hey, it sounds fantastic.
You have to see the thumbnail of the flying parasite. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hold on. Guys, look at this. That's the flying parasite.
Oh,
So raw chicken?
It looks like raw chicken.
I wonder if they spent more money on that than they did to spray paint that Chihuahua back in earlier episodes.
Oh, the lion chihuahua,
Yeah,
whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever that thing was. Yeah, it could be the same thing, actually. Be the same animal. It looks like something that somebody sneezed on the floor.
So what? They killed the chihuahua and they just basically skinned it?
Oh God.
I listen. I hinted at it. He said it.
You guys are horrible.
I mean, you know what this was when you first signed up with us.
Yeah. It was a mistake.
Liar.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next episode, gentlemen.
Guys, when we finish the season, like we have to do something, right? Like, what are we gonna do when the season's over?
Tally up all of Brad's demerits.
That would take forever.
You'll have to listen to every single cast and like count it, man, because I know Drew didn't count them.
Right, Drew's not counting this stuff. He's funny that way.
That sounds like a Majeed job.
All right, guys. So next week, or my God, will it be 3 months again until I see you guys on video?
No, we're done with Picard. So
wait, Strange New World starts up in a bit.
Oh yeah.
Well,
when?
It won't be 3 weeks. I can assure you, because if we do Strange New Worlds, you'll be part of that one.
Yeah. You guys left me behind. I mean, I watched an episode of Picard, but you never asked me. Well, to be fair, I wanted to jump in and say, "Hey guys, I watched an episode of Picard,"
and then you know showed.
Yeah.
And then I was getting my haircut that day.
I mean, getting your chest waxed doesn't count.
Yeah, it does. Watch. See, it grew back already, but it's beach season, Brad. You're gonna be out there at the beach.
No comment, man. No comment.
You're gonna be out there at the beach with your baby Bjorn on.
I got the dad bod, man. I'm going with that.
Baby Bjorn, a fanny pack, sunblock on just your nose.
On that note, folks, thank you for listening to yet another Star Trek podcast.
A visor. Good night.
Later. Bye. Thanks for listening to yet another Star Trek podcast. We're part of the Retro Sessions Network. This episode was recorded on May 3rd, 2023. Is hosted by Brad, Drew, and Majeed. Drew, that's me. Well, I'm the editor. Majeed is in charge of our social media, and Brad takes care of all of our synopsises. Special thanks to William Grubelar for writing our wonderful music, our theme songs Warp Speed and To the Stars. Check him out on SoundCloud. And thanks to George Ratau for making us look like Lower Decks characters. You can check out both of them using the links in the show notes below. Also in the show notes, we have links to our social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or you can just find us at yet another ST Pod. Of course, we're also on TikTok and YouTube if you prefer a video component to your podcast experience, which is weird because we're not recording any video for these. It's strictly an audio podcast, but if you feel compelled to watch our logo on your television, YouTube's a great place for that. Of course, we have a website at www.yetanothersTpod.com, and we have a Discord room if you want to come by and talk about nerdy stuff. There's links for those also in the show notes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.